So, as I do with all my classes, I can try to do my best to make things as simple as possible to understand, and heart is really a classic topic. We're going to talk about blood chemistries tonight. We're going to talk about how the heart functions, a number of different things. We're going to learn today really what our concerns are about heart and heart disease. And most importantly, if you don't have heart disease, you haven't been told you have heart disease, I really want to help to teach you there are ways you can find out how healthy your heart is, so everybody in the room tonight knows exactly what the status of their heart is, okay? Because it is important, right? So, here's the heart. Not bad, huh? So, we have a heart and we have a vascular. What's vascular?
Vessel. Blood.
Exactly. So you got your arteries and your veins, right? So, as far as problems with the heart, half of those problems typically are in the heart itself, half of those problems are in the arteries and the veins. But in America, most of the emphasis is really where? On the heart or on the veins and arteries?
Veins and arteries.
Veins and arteries. We talk about cholesterol, we talk about buildup, we talk about all those things, which is very, very important. It's also important to be addressing the heart itself too. And we'll talk about how we do it and also how the medical system does it as well. So I divide this up into heart issues and vascular issues. So problems of the heart, problems of vascular. Some of these things you'll feel, some things you don't feel. That's why heart disease is oftentimes called the silent killer. Yeah. Because the first symptom of a heart attack oftentimes is what?
Yeah.
Death. Exactly. So it's good to be aware of how you can get your heart healthy. So what creates the problem? So first, let's go to the very, very top. What's the problem?
Standard American diet.
It's a sad diet. That's right. Standard American diet. Now, you have to understand that everything we're going to talk about tonight is not a disease. They call it heart disease, but it's truly not a disease. When you think about a disease, what do you think about?
Autoimmunity.
Something you can't change, typically, or something that someone gave you and it's like you didn't want. It came out of the sky or came out of your genetics or something. That's how I look at disease, or that term, okay? But really this is not a disease. This is a process of what? Process of lifestyle. And why is that good? If it was disease and someone gave you this disease, what would you do? It's like, great.
You live with it.
Thanks a lot, you know?
I'm not taking
But if
it.
it's a lifestyle, something I have control over, that I have decisions I can make. And I think one thing I want to share with you tonight is this is purely a problem that can be rectified very powerfully. We had a gentleman come in our clinic about 3 months ago. He had heart stents put in, he had bypass surgery, number of problems. And they had him on a number of different drugs to deal with this concern that he had. And he came in actually for a different problem. He came in for a gallbladder issue. And so working with him, I said, would you like to maybe get off your medications for your heart disease? Would you like to maybe reduce your risk of dying? Because what happens with a stent anyway? They put a stent in you, they do a bypass surgery. Have they really fixed the problem?
No.
They just did some plumbing work, right? And if they haven't fixed the source of the clog, is it going to get clogged up again, right? So we introduced him to, guess what I introduced him to? Purification. And so he was a guy who lived on chicken wings and hamburgers and that's why he ended up with heart disease. And but he was a good student and he took on Harley because he wanted to change his life. So long story short, he did everything we asked him to with purification, 100%. Did a great job. Lost I think 25 pounds, 26 pounds, and radically changed his heart disease pattern. So then his next goal was to literally fight the doctors to get him off his drugs. And he had to do that because if you have a stent, you put on blood thinners forever. Okay? And so he said, no, I don't want to take these things. It took him about a year. But within that period of time, he was finally able to convince I think his cardiologist actually got fed up with him, quite honestly. He was like, okay, your blood looks good, everything looks good, you don't need his I'll let you go without him. And so now he's completely medication free, and he's maintaining his weight. And it's mostly because he changed from the SAD diet to a whole food plant-based diet, which really radically changed his life.
And he was in his 60s. He
Yes.
was in his,
Yep.
60s.
Yep. So we're gonna need 2 more chairs for Dave.
Okay.
All right, so So we know the SAD diet's a problem. So the SAD diet is 62% processed food, 26% animal products, 12% veggies, but not really, because what's the 12% consist of? America's favorite vegetable. Potato. And the farmer French fries and potato chips. Leaving only maybe 5 or 6% actual real true vegetables and fruit. We want you to be eating 95%, not 5%, right? So that's the sad American diet. Lack of exercise is the problem, right? Sedentary lifestyle, not really tending to yourself and being active. Smoking, okay? Obesity, diabetes, anger. That's interesting, huh? Actually, on the published list of increased risk for heart disease is anger. Increased LDL. What's LDL?
Low density lipoprotein.
Right. So that's a
Or
fat in the
lousy
blood. It's a
cholesterol.
form of cholesterol. It's a bigger one. Okay. We're going to be talking about different tests tonight. They have a test now called a VAP, which is that's a pretty cool test. It's a blood test. So in addition to getting your normal cholesterol and LDL and HDL numbers, you also get the size of the particles and the volume of those particles, so you get a better idea as far as your actual risk for heart disease. That's called a VAP. And then high blood pressure. So that's the problem. Okay. So how is this problem addressed in the medical community? How do they address the problem?
Drugs.
Exactly. And what's the most common drug in America today sold?
Lipitor.
Exactly, statin drugs, right? So and they're not inert drugs. Not one drug that's given by the medical industry is an inert substance, meaning that it does far more than what they're giving it to you for. Okay, and you have to be aware of that. So we have to be aware of risk. You know, what's the return for what's my return on investment? What's my risk? What am I looking at here? Okay, so statin drugs, they're designed to do what? Lower cholesterol, right? Which is a good thing if you have a cholesterol of 500. But what we already talked about tonight, they can do that radically and quickly.
Exercise.
Within 3 weeks, you can have a 30% reduction in your cholesterol level by changing your diet. You go vegan for 3 weeks, it'll plummet. Okay, purification even more so. Okay, so statin drugs are designed to lower cholesterol. However, interesting enough, not one study is used as its primary source. If you're using a statin drug as your primary source for longevity, now one study has shown that taking a statin drug will extend your life. Interesting. Yet they still sell it. It makes your liver sick. That's how it works. A statin drug goes in your body through your mouth, right? Goes down to your liver. It makes your liver sick. And it's designed to make it so your body cannot produce cholesterol. That's how it works. That's why the cholesterol level dropped. But they do that by making a part of your body. Is the liver important?
Yes.
Well, I should say so. It's your main detoxifier. It's a very powerful organ, and you're making it sick by taking the statin drug. You also have risk of kidney problems with statin drugs. But with the number one complication though with statin